I want to welcome everybody to this demonstration. Does the CPS case and the text messages in the Nazaria Harris case make sense? Y'all know me. I do a lot of backtracking. I like to backtrack things. And let me read my copyright disclaimer before we get started. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. What that means is that everything that you hear in this demonstration is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Salute to the chat. Salute to the replay gang. Salute to all of my moderators. Now, I'm going to drop the link, but the link is only for family members of Nazaria Harris that would like to join me on a panel and clear up some things. So if you are a family member of Nazaria Harris, and if you would like to join me on the panel to clear up some things, click on the blue StreamYard link. Now, I was thinking so Kiwana and Janelle, I believe they called protected services, I believe in February, and I could be wrong. And I think the case, no, matter of fact, I ain't even gonna twist it. Let this run. But I do know that those text messages from Jarvis and Nazaria was in that same year that Kiwana and Janelle contacted CPS. So I'm trying to figure out, well, if Nazaria came forward and spoke on Jarvis inappropriately touching her, then how could it be months later she end up sending these sexual explicit text messages? What do y'all think about that? Help me out with that. All right. Let me salute real quick, and then we're going to jump into the demonstration. But what do y'all feel? Salute. Have you seen this podcast? Marty, Gina, Ellis, Jacqueline, Dr. J, Unavailable, Ray, Quita, Tanya, Tudor, Thankful, Passion, Charlotte's Web, Kenyatta, Yolanda, Jordan, Cindy, One Love, Ida, Latanya, Nick. Appreciate you, Nick. Angel, A Young, Carla, Miss Five, Miss Blondie. I think Shannon was sending some of the messages which are such the A word, right? Day Walsh, Trans Life, Quita. Quita says, I feel all the messages is from Shannon, Kiara, Jonte, Nicole, Kristen, Shari, Nika, Shani. Let's go to, and let's get a timeline established. All right, we're gonna get this timeline established.
Right now, Jarvis Butts is awaiting trial for the murder and sexual abuse of Nazaria Harris.
After listening to days of testimony last month, a judge called Butts a monster and said that opportunities to protect the 13-year-old girl were missed. Tonight, the 7 investigators are revealing years of warnings that preceded Butts' alleged crimes.
Warnings that family members say were made to Children's Protective Services that could have saved Nazaria's life. Here's what 7 investigator Ross Jones has uncovered.
You look at that face and you do not see the horrors that she had gone through in her short life. The exploitation, the molestations, the sexual abuse, and the pregnancy that she was concealing.
Years before Jarvis Butts would be charged by Wayne County's prosecutor, accused of killing and sexually abusing 13-year-old Naziah Harris, his own relatives say they saw the warning signs and told anyone who would listen.
So that at that point, I was like, this is too much. I'm calling CPS.
I tried not just once, but multiple times for them to take me serious in what I was saying.
Kiwana Morton and her cousin Jernell are both relatives of Naziah Harris. In February of 2022, Jernell says she learned of allegations of improper touching involving Butts and other small children.
So it was in February of 2022 that they learned about the inappropriate touching. Shout out to Kiwana and Jernell. Appreciate that gifted membership, one love. Appreciate that gifted membership, one love. So in February they learned about it.
She says she was told about the claims while talking to her niece, Jarvis Butts' girlfriend, and that the alleged victims were Naziah Harris and 2 other children.
I was just like, oh my God, I was not crazy. This needs to be looked into.
She says she took the claim seriously in part because Butts was on the sex offender registry, having spent more than 8 years in prison for third-degree criminal sexual conduct. She didn't alert authorities at first because she believed her niece would notify police. But weeks later, Jernell did notify Child Protective Services. Her complaint came in on April 13th, 2022.
All right. So now Jernell's and Kiwana and them complaint comes in April, right, of 2022. Now, I'm trying to figure out. I don't have the answers. And this is why I'm doing this demonstration for the subscribers, as well as content creators, as well as the family. All right? Because I'm just trying to put this together. Now, what would make Naziah turn around in that same year and send those explicit text messages to Jarvis? And see, this is why, for me, this is why I've always felt like some of those text messages between Naziah and Jarvis, some of those text messages could have been Naziah. But I doubt it very serious if all of those text messages came from Naziah. And after talking with many of you all, and after being in other content creators chat, a lot of people feel the same way. That's not Naziah sending them text messages. Super Shawnee says, I doubt if those were from Naziah. Olivia says, it was grooming and learned behavior. She felt like she was in love. This poor little girl, she went through a lot. You know, it makes you wonder, who could she turn to? Was it anybody that she could have turned to? Charlotte Webb says, Jarvis had finally succeeded in grooming her. I don't believe Naziah sent all of those messages. And maybe that's what it is, Charlotte's Webb. Drop a 3. Drop a 3 in the chat if you feel like Jarvis finally succeeded in grooming her. That's a good point, Charlotte's Webb. Miss Blonde says, fake news, Shank. That baby wasn't texting some of that stuff. I'm a 53-year-old grandmother, and I don't even talk like that. And that's what I was saying, Miss Blonde. Salute Cold Peace. Cold Peace says it's Shannon. And like I said, I believe 98% of the people believe that that's Shannon. Or some people believe that it's Miss Annette. Some people believe it's Annette or Shannon. Put a Annette in the chat if you think it's Annette sending them text messages. Put a Shannon in the chat if you think it's Shannon. Nubian says, I think she felt defeated because no one saved her. That's a good point, Nubian. It's the more you dig into this case and the more you backtrack this case, you really see this case for what it is. And, you know, you see exactly how this little girl was done wrong. I mean, all the way around the Monopoly board. That was Shannon trying to find out if Jarvis was, you know what, that baby. Yep. Salute, Candy. I think, and let me just speak for myself as a content creator. I feel, especially with the family members, some of the family members, you know, speaking out and coming on panels and everything, I do believe that we are learning more and more things about the Nazaria Harris case. Make sure y'all subscribe to Cold Peace TV. Moderators, if I could get one of my moderators to drop Cold Peace TV's link in the chat. And if y'all haven't already subscribed to Cold Peace TV, subscribe. She does an excellent job covering this case. Appreciate that super sticker, Candy.
There was an incident at a birthday party, the complaint reads. One of the children that attended the party accused Jarvis of sexual abuse. Nazaya, and name withheld, reported that Jarvis touched both of them inappropriately as well.
So Nazaya is in that report, and Nazaya stated that he inappropriately touched her as well. Appreciate the gifted membership. Have you seen this podcast? Have you seen this podcast as another content creator as well? Somebody, Marty, or another content creator, drop Have You Seen This Podcast link as well. Have You Seen This Podcast is a content creator as well. Let's subscribe to Have You Seen This Podcast as well. So for me, and make sure we're not using no profanity in the chat. Make sure we're not using no profanity. Disguise the curse words. All right.
Jarvis touched, name withheld in her private area, and it hurt. Jernell made the complaint over the phone.
They basically told me if they needed me for anything else, they would reach out.
The next day, Jernell would receive a text from her niece, Butt's girlfriend, confirming that CPS had contacted her. CPS called me, the text reads. They called about the well-being of my kids. Then they called back to get Jarvis info. A CPS spokeswoman would not tell 7 News Detroit if investigators ever questioned Nazaya Harris after receiving the complaint. But we do know it wasn't the only complaint filed with CPS, naming Jarvis Butts.
And it wasn't easy for me to call Protective Services just because of the horror stories that you hear.
Juana Morton said she heard about the same allegations against Butts from a conversation with his girlfriend.
And see, Shannon, I have to bring your name up, Shannon. This is why a lot of people on social media is upset with you. And this is why a lot of people on social media feels as though you had something to do with the disappearance and the unaliving of Nazaya Harris. Because right there, when CPS contacted you, Shannon, if you would have took up for your nieces, and the other children, but if you would have stood up right then and there and told the truth about Jarvis, it is my strong belief Nazaya Harris would still be alive. She would still be alive. If you would have stood up right then, when Janelle, my bad, when Kiwana and Janelle put them complaints in, if you would have stood up, we wouldn't be discussing the Nazaria Harris case right now. Tudor says Jarvis kept violating Nazaria because there was no repercussions. Nazaria told the first time and nothing happened. Jarvis was still able to come around and Shannon kept popping out kids. Yep. That's true, Tudor. And, you know, for a little girl that young, I mean, for a woman, and in a lot of cases, this is why females, girls, women, this is why they don't come forward, because nothing happens to the perpetrator. Nothing happens to the man or woman in some cases. This is a prime example. A prime example. So this is why the people come for you, Shannon. How could she was part of it? True. Fact, Shank. It's so sad to think that Nazaria lived her whole life invisible. Make sure y'all put hashtag justice for Nazaria. Throw up some pink hearts as well as purple hearts. Most predators pick the weakest link. He knew nobody would do nothing. Jarvis was in paradise. And you know what, Nubian? You're absolutely right. And he was in paradise all the way around the Monopoly board. He had access to not only the little children, he had access to a lot of women. He had access to a lot of women. So you right, Nubian. Jarvis was in paradise. Jarvis felt untouchable.
Two months after her cousins called the CPS, she would file her own complaint.
I told them that there's a problem and they need to be aware of it. I am 90% sure that there's sexual abuse going on within the home.
Did you specifically mention Jarvis by name?
Yes, absolutely.
Internal
is right
CPS
there.
records we obtained show that investigators looked into that complaint, conducting a face-to-face interview with Butts, who strongly denied the allegation. A forensic interview was conducted with the alleged victim, and no disclosures were made. CPS said the home was clean and free of observed safety concerns.
CPS, and you know how CPS, especially the caseworkers, they're going to get off if it is a complaint, if a lawsuit come out of this against CPS. I promise y'all, those CPS workers are going to say that they only done what they were instructed to do. We hear these CPS cases all around the United States of America. CPS ain't ish. Anytime you got the individual whom is in the CPS report as inappropriate touching the children, you got his report card. All you got to do is go to his report card. Now, some people do change. Some people change. But in this situation, this is something that shouldn't have been looked over at all. CPS should have done a more thorough investigation. CPS didn't even bother to talk to Nazaria, right? The police, Detroit Police Department, didn't bother to talk to Nazaria.
The allegation was denied, assigned a low risk level. These are 2 complaints of at least 5 filed with CPS since 2015, naming Jarvis Butts.
There it is right there. There's more receipts why CPS should have been on Jarvis's head. 5 reported CPS cases. Let me backtrack to the year.
Concerns. The allegation was denied, assigned a low risk level. These are 2 complaints of at least 5 filed with CPS since 2015.
Since 2015, you can't make this ish up. Since 2015, 2 complaints, or 5 complaints with Jarvis's name. There's the 5. S abuse, Jarvis Butts, the parent. Improper supervision, Jarvis Butts. Threatened harm, Jarvis Butts. Another threatened harm, Jarvis Butts. Parent's boyfriend, girlfriend living outside. And let me see what this last one is.
Naming Jarvis Butts.
The 5th one is another threatened harm. So y'all had his report card. That's his MO. That's Jarvis's MO. Inappropriately touching little kids. Wow.
They allege concerns about possible molestation, physical abuse, or living conditions. Some of the complaints are generic, and none would ultimately substantiate that Butts was improperly touching children. Just over a year after the last complaint on record, Butts would be charged with sexually assaulting and murdering Neziah Harris.
I'm brokenhearted because this could have been prevented.
Yes, it could have been prevented. Let me come to the chat, y'all. Let me see what my chat's saying. Chocolate says he was not to go to parks, schools, etc. Any place there is children. Exactly. Deborah says they made Neziah denied he touched her. Yes, pedos have a lot of access to our babies because they're desperate for love. And, you know, shaking my head, just giving our poor babies to these monsters. They wash, period, boo. Sometimes the workers are overworked with many cases. I get that, sister. I do. I get that. The workers can be overworked. But in a case like this case, to me, sticks out like a sore thumb. Sticks out like a sore thumb. So sick and praying for our babies. But he was going to daddy-daughter dances at schools and stuff crazy. Exactly. You know what I mean? And this is why we got to protect our babies. Y'all got to protect y'all babies as mothers, as grandmothers, as fathers. I done the demonstration on Miss Shirley. I get that Miss Shirley is living her best life. But Miss Shirley's mother have to be real careful. We got to be careful who we turn our babies over to. Meaning we got to be careful what we let our babies entertain. Just because it's cute, just because it's fun, it also can be dangerous. Tudor says, I bet if Neziah wasn't enrolled in school, that family wouldn't have reported a damn thing. They had to report because too many absent days would raise eyebrows. Other than that, they didn't care. Exactly. Exactly. I'm going to try to catch the chat. Damn, his record is crazy. New subby from Miss Parker. Shout out to Miss Parker and the Riders. Appreciate you for pulling up. Too blessed to be stressed. Can I get everybody to give Too Blessed to Be Stressed a warm welcome? Salute, Chen. Sasha says, then the social workers will get off by them saying they got heavy caseloads and not enough workers. That's all they're going to say. Not enough workers for all their cases. Shaking my you-know-what head. And that's facts. That's facts. The caseworkers going to get off because they're going to put it on. We got too many case loads, and we was only going off of what, we was instructed to do. I look at CPS like the emergency room. You got to be damn near dead before CPS helps you. That Z Tone says, when Shannon's daughter reported what she did, she got a whooping for it. This is why kids are afraid. And once again, Shannon, this is why you are under the microscope. When it comes to the family, Miss Annette and Shannon, y'all can't even be mad. Y'all can't even feel a certain way while y'all are under the microscope. The other ones, Kiwana, Janelle, Roxy, Kenya, they're not under my microscope. Marquita is not under my microscope. But Shannon and Miss Annette, y'all are definitely under my microscope. And if you're watching, Shannon, I just had one question for you. I got a lot of questions for you. But my main question for Shannon is, why when Kiwana and Janelle put the CPS complaint in, CPS contacted you, why didn't you tell CPS what Jarvis had done to them babies? Why was your daughter allegedly given a whooping? That's my question to you, Shannon. See, you don't have to have a degree in law. You don't have to be a whiz kid to figure the case out, and especially when it comes to the babies. You don't got to be no whiz kids to figure this out. It's sad. It's sad.
All of it could have been prevented.
Sad. And I know most content creators feel the way I feel. Like, it's days when we do want to stop reporting. Because I know for me, it's days that I just want to just let the Nazaria Harris case go and just keep it moving. I say to myself all the time, Shank, it's other content creators that's covering it. So it's not like no one will be covering it. But I look at it like, Mr. Shank, why they do this to me? See, I look at stuff like that. Mr. Shank, why they do this to me? Mr. Shank, help me. And I know some monsters. I know some cold people out here. They would never lay their hand on a child. Children have always been off limits. Now, when we get to Jarvis, we know that Jarvis was inappropriately touched by this woman, right? Now, here's my opinion on this, okay? Even though Jarvis was inappropriately touched by this woman, that still didn't give Jarvis the right to inappropriately touch these babies. Now, when it comes to the women that's 18 and older, if you know what I mean, I can't advocate for them if they willingly lay down with Jarvis. If you willingly lay down with this monster, ain't nothing that I could do. Ain't nothing that I could do. I'm going to try to get as many comments that I can, y'all. Salute, Earth Angel. Nubian says, why all his women look alike? Just don't sit right with me when a child tells you they were touched and you tell them they're lying and was the child. That's facts. That's facts. Shannon should be charged with child endangerment for having him around them kids. That's facts. I do believe that Shannon should be charged. I do. And even though Shannon do have a side to tell, a story to tell, but it's no getting around this, Shannon. Animo, that's doing way too much. Oh my God. I don't know how people can give a predator a second chance. Why wouldn't she be watching more? He also abused her physically. Yeah. Yeah. Because according to Kiwana, that was Kiwana's first time meeting Jarvis when Jarvis and Shannon had got into a physical confrontation. So you're right, Shank. No excuse, but the abused often do become the abusers. Don't let this go, Shank. You doing this because Naziah needs all the help she can get, as well as those other kids around Naziah. And you're right, A Young. You're right. But as a content creator, it gets draining, you know, especially when you put your heart into it. You know, when you put your heart into it, it gets draining. And in my opinion, I don't believe that the content creators, I don't believe that we are in it for clicks and views. Clicks and views, it come with the territory. You're going to get clicks and views. I don't think the content creators are in it for the money. As a content creator, the money comes with it. YouTube allowed us content creators to receive money. If the subscribers want to click on the video, you can't be mad at the content creator. If the subscribers would like to support the content creators financially, that's up to the subscribers. Salute Phoenix Fireside. Make sure y'all subscribe to Phoenix Fireside. She is a hard-working content creator. And the one thing that I like about Phoenix Fireside, she supports other content creators. She does. She will share out any content creator. She'll share them out. So make sure you all subscribe to Phoenix Fireside. And when y'all get a chance, go check her out. I appreciate all y'all compliments. I really do. It means so much. let's get back to some more.
Attorneys for Jarvis Butts declined comment for this story, citing his pending criminal case. As for CPS, a spokeswoman for the Department of Health and
CPS, they always say that. Well, you know, our hearts go out to the family. Every time a case like this comes about and CPS is not on their job, it's always, well, our heart goes out to the family. We did the best that we could do. And even though it is the parents' fault, but it's not only the parents' fault. It's not only Naziah's mother and her father's fault, and may her father rest in peace. But it's everybody that was around Naziah that failed to do something. Because the last time I checked, it takes a village to raise one child. All right, y'all, let's see what I want to pull up. All right, let me.
What if recording high quality content, editing like a pro, and streaming like a star was as simple as hitting?
We're going to revisit the text messages, y'all. We're going to revisit the text messages. Trans Life says, is anyone in here in Detroit? If you're in Detroit, drop a 5. Drop a 5 if you're in Detroit. Let's revisit some of these text messages, y'all.
And does that document fairly and accurately depict what it is you received back from Google as it relates to a search warrant for jarvisbutts82@gmail.com?
Yes.
And I move for the admission of people's proposed exhibit. I forgot. Safety 3.
Any objection?
No objection.
To be admitted as people 63.
Okay. Now I want to go back to the first page. And with the subscriber information. Tell me, who is the subscriber?
So it has a Google account ID number, then it gives a name that says Jarvis Butts. It has an email address, jarvisbutts82@gmail.com. There's also a phone number that's connected to it, which is 313-585-8719.
And is there a birthday associated with that?
Yes, November 21st, 1982.
And moving on to the searches, what dates do those searches encompass?
These searches are December 9th.
Of what year?
Yep, December 9th, 10th, and 11th of 2023.
Okay. And it's fair to say that those are the entirety of all of the searches from those days.
It is not all of them, no.
Those are just select ones from the Google return.
Yes.
All right. Starting with December 9th, tell me which ones that we have in that exhibit.
So these are the Google search, and we will get into the text messages. Let's see what we can rediscover on the Google search, y'all.
So the first, do you want me to read the ones that are just highlighted, or you want me to start at the top of here? So.
The ones that are highlighted.
Okay.
Just start with the ones that are highlighted.
Yep, so this search was December 9th, 2023 at 3:32 UTC time. So you would actually have to subtract 5 hours, which would make it the night of December 8th. And the site is, what's visited, it's Drink Me and Abort Your Baby, the Herbal Abortion Tea by Maya.
And what about the next one after that?
There is a site that's visited on it says here December 10th, 2023 at 9:32 p.m. UTC, so -5. And the site visited is plannedparenthood.org/learn/abortion/the abortion pill.
And
Yes,
the next
the
one.
next search is immediately after that, so December 10th at 9:32 p.m. UTC, the abortion pill, get the facts about medication abortion. There is a search that was conducted before that on December 10th, 2023 at 9:31 p.m. UTC. And that site is plannedparenthood.org /blog/can I use herbs to have an abortion at home?
And the next
The
one.
next one is December 10th, 2023 at 9:31 p.m. UTC. Can I use herbs to have an abortion at home? Planned Parenthood.
All right, let's stay right here, y'all. How many of y'all agree with that Z-Tone? Drop a 6. Drop a 6 if y'all agree that the searches shows his intent to unalive. Drop a 7 if y'all disagree. Nubian dropped a 6. Olivia dropped a 6. Quita, 6. Deja, 6. Okay, A Young, we got 1 7. Donna, Jonte, Sharita dropped a 6. Chen. So we got 2 7s so far. We got 2 7s so far. Because this is what they basing as far as evidence, when it comes to evidence. His Google search engine. Earth Angel dropped a 7. All right. Popcorn says 6 because he don't know what could have happened after she took whatever. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. I don't, because it's intended to unalive the baby, not her. That's a good point. That's a good point, A Young. How do y'all feel about A Young's comment? A Young says, I don't, because it's intended to unalive the baby, not her. Wow. It's a good point, A Young.
And the next one.
The next one is December 10th, 2023 at 9:36 p.m. UTC. So again, -5 hours. And that site is, it's ansirh.org, research, over-counter medication abortion. Search December 10th, 2023 at 9:36 p.m. Over-the-counter medication abortion, and that's from that same place before, ANSIRH.
And even the judge mentioned about the abortion turned left. The judge is convinced that Jarvis was, out to abort the baby. But the abortion turned left. And many of us believe that Jarvis didn't intend to hurt Neziah. Milky Way says they got him for first degree, right? True. Brent says wrong no matter what. Coco, because either way they were going to find out it was a grown man. I believe Jarvis knew a lot of people that could help her after the fact if there was complications. Aunt Mo, that's a good point. If that's true, it should have a warning sign if consumed on that product. Salute, Lady V. Honestly, why didn't she just go get an abortion and say she didn't know the father? That's true, Coco. That's true, Coco. If anything, why didn't Shannon bring her to the clinic? They don't need to know the father. That's true, Niecy. It is still there, just abandoned according to Google's maps. Yep, she couldn't go about life the same without medically attention. She was a kid, never had a baby, so he knew she might not could even handle birth. He wasn't very smart, Googling all that stuff, shaking my head. And you know what, Candy? I don't think that Jarvis, and I could be wrong, I don't think that Jarvis meant to unalive Neziah. I don't. I could be wrong. I really believe Shannon had his phone and was looking that stuff up. Jarvis not that smart to be looking that stuff up. That's another good point, Miss TT. Shannon could be behind the Google search. Brent says yes. I don't believe he had intentions on hurting Neziah, but to get rid of the baby, but he's still a monster. I agree, Sharita. I agree. Coco, right, and they didn't have to say the father at Planned Parenthood. Tracy dropped the 6. There would have been questions because she's a minor. Exactly, popcorn conversations. Shannon worked at a client, right? I was thinking the same thing, Miss T. He was going to give it to Shannon to do the job. To do the antifreeze after he looked it up. So he fixed the Jaguar to get the money, and then Shannon beat her up. That's a good point, Awesome. That's a good point, Wilson. I hope he doesn't get off on a charge technicality like George Zimmerman. I agree. Why get rid of the baby anyway when other underage girls were having his baby allegedly? True. Yes, I seen it. I just didn't know if it was still up. It's creepy that you look inside online. It's a walkthrough. Salute, Corey. That should have jumped so quick. They knew because his daughter had an abortion before, too, matter of fact. Shank, I ever heard of Grady Jude, the sheriff in Port County, Florida? What if he dropped her off at the hospital, y'all? I don't think he did it. I think Shannon did it. Jarvis benefited from Neziah. I really believe that. Salute, Miss Minnie. I believe Shannon looked that up too. I truly feel like he did not want to harm Neziah, but he was trying to get rid of the baby. Shannon is definitely the mastermind technically. Shank, I was going to say the same about Shannon could have been behind those searches. Okay. So a lot of y'all feel like Shannon could have been behind the searches. They not that smart, obviously. If he worked for a auto shop, she must have been in her first trimester to have an abortion at home. I don't know. If he didn't do the searches, his attorney brought that up at the preliminary.
December 10th, 2023 at 9:32. Planned Parenthood, abortion, the abortion pill. How do I have an abortion using only misoprostol, misoprostol. The next search, December 10th, 2023 at 9:32. Planned Parenthood, learn abortion, the abortion pill. So it's like the same back and forth to the same site. On December 11th at 11:43 p.m. UTC, so minus 5 hours, specifically is searched is, can I drink red antifreeze? Again, that same item is searched again right after the same time, 11:43 on December 11th, 2023.
All right, let me find the actual text messages. Salute RS. RS says, I heard that Shannon had the passwords to Nazia's phone and tablet, but she has a phone her mom lady gave her. That's true, RS. That's true. This monster didn't want to use protection to avoid this situation. Maybe she wanted to keep her baby, to have someone to give the love to that she never got. A lot of young girls think this way. Shannon and Annette had motive to not want her to keep the baby. That's true. An analyst could tell who was actually doing the search just by the wording matched with known searches. True. Yes, it's creepy in there. I read where they left a lot of kids' info in there too. Wow, that's a thought. What if he dropped her off in the hospital and she got away? It's just something about King's facial expressions on that stand. That face was saying some kind, just can't figure it out. Yeah, I ain't buying King BS. Let me find the text messages, y'all. Give me a second to find the text messages.
To Jarvis after that. Mr. Buttstock.
No.
Okay. And now, do those indicate whether or not they were deleted?
Yes.
Okay. And how many of those were deleted? Or how many of them were not deleted? That's the better question.
Looks like all of them were deleted except for the one where she was, the very beginning, she had actually texted somebody else, which I believe might have been Shannon's phone at the time, saying, Baldhead Janiyah, come here. But all the messages between the 8719, which is Jarvis's number, are marked on here as deleted except, let's see.
So I do believe that most of us believe that Shannon is the mastermind behind those text messages. And Shannon was fishing. Shannon was definitely fishing to figure out. But we know that Shannon knew that Jarvis was inappropriately touching Naziah. Now maybe, and I have to say this, don't throw no shoes up here at me. Maybe Shannon was trying to figure out who exactly was it that was initiating the inappropriate touching. Have any of y'all thought like that? Have any of y'all thought that Shannon could have been trying to figure out, is it Jarvis or is it Neziah? Because, you know, it can happen. It can happen. Salute, Pookie Poo. Salute. I don't understand why these pedos do all of this, no protection to hide this sick ish. Why do these babies have to pay the price? I'm sick of it. I think about her every day. It's so sad. Exactly. Yep. Ain't no way she just looked at that tablet when the detectives came for it. Again, what kind of auntie is she? S says nope. Super Shauna says nope. Moose says good point. No, because regardless, it's his fault. Not at all. Doesn't matter. She's a minor. Shank, what's messed up is that when we look for Neziah and find things, there's no one that we can give it to because the detectives act like they don't even want her found. You know what, Earth Angel? I gotta agree with you, Earth Angel. I gotta agree with Earth Angel. S says, why would there be a report if they didn't want to be touched? True. Salute, BJ. Trans Life says they saved themselves. Teresa says, right. She knew. He told her he was a pad. Correct, Deborah. Correct. Shank, don't go giving Shannon ways to testify. All right, Juanita. All right, Juanita. I knew somebody was going to come for me. I knew somebody was going to come for me. Shank, Rock, what the hell is wrong with your funky ass? I know, Nita. I know that's what you wanted to say, Nita. I know Nita wanted to call my funky ass out for trying to give Shannon a leeway. I know.
On September 30th, the hey boo, you coming over, and the you coming text, those ones were not deleted and still show up.
Okay, so those last two.
Yes.
Now, going through people's exhibit 16 messages, as it relates to the 231-743-3137. Oh, I'm sorry, before that, without telling us Neziah's actual birthday, in September 24th, 2022, what age had Neziah just turned?
In 22,
Yes.
she would have just turned 12.
Now, do you have a set of these the messages from the 231 number?
Yes.
Okay. Now I want to go through those. And there are sections that are highlighted, and I want to follow along. What is the first message that is sent?
It is sent on March 4th, 2023 at 23:35 UTC. It's sent to Jarvis's 8719 number, and it says, "It's me, Neziah."
Okay. And just for clarification purposes, all the messages within this exhibit are sent to Jarvis's 8719 number.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want to jump to March 16th of 2023. There's a highlighted message there. Can you read that one?
Yeah. So just before that, the UTC time on here, just so I'm not having the math throughout, from March 10th to November 3rd, it would be -4 hours. So any date that falls within those days would be -4. Any dates outside of those ranges would be -5 hours.
You said that's
But I'm
March-
going to read it off of here what the time is stamped and date.
Okay. You said that's March 10th through November
3rd,
Okay, that's -4 UTC.
-4, yes.
Okay. So continue with that.
Yep, so March 16th, 2023 at 0006 hours. she receives a message from Jarvis that says, "Stop messing with people and just be mine."
And was that deleted?
No.
So she received a message from Jarvis saying, stop messing with people and just be mine. Now, that wasn't deleted. Now, that Blue StreamYard link that I dropped is for any members of Naziah Harris family that would like to pull up, get some things off of your chest, or maybe address something or give us some information that we don't have. So if it's any of Naziah's family members that is watching, and if y'all would like to join me up on the panel, feel free to click on the Blue StreamYard link. You will not be attacked. I will not attack you. I will let you speak your piece. I will let you get whatever it is you need to get off your chest. Now, so when it comes to the baby, what are y'all thoughts? I think we was mentioning the DNA, or was it a test? Was it a DNA test done? Because how can we know for sure that that unborn child was Jarvis? Right? And I do know in one of the text messages, he did mention to her that he didn't, what inside of her. So how do y'all feel about that? Is it concrete proof? And then also, I don't know. Y'all will have to help me out with this. How would they go about performing a DNA test if there's no body? And please, how, if we have no body, are y'all able to test the DNA for the kid? Right. That's where I'm at, April. That's where I'm at. And I'm trying to be as sensitive as I can, but that's where I'm at. It's no body. So how can they, do a DNA test? Salute, Greg. Okay, RS says pre-cum. He's done it too much if she took a plan B before. The encounters must have happened because there's no text mention of her ghosting her. True. Honestly, when she said she can't use Annette and Shannon's pads, I had to laugh. Yeah, that was funny, Coco. Blood test, I guess. Miss T says facts. And why the F would lady let her mom get custody of the kids after what happened to herself? That is crazy, as you know what, to me. And that shouldn't have never had custody of her kids. Yeah, because on the last demonstration, Kiwana did mention that her and Janelle wanted to get custody of Naziah, and I believe her brother. So they couldn't, because the blood on the clothing wasn't enough to test. Look at the judge's face in the picture. She's sick of them and the lies they told. Lady V says, you make a good point, Shank. If she was being passed around to other men, I don't know, right? And that's even out there. That Annette, Shannon, and even Jarvis, and even King, was pimping her. So, I don't know. Tay says, Bari's DNA. Salute, Rainey. Deborah says they can't. No body, no DNA test. Blood left at the crime scene would show cord blood to be tested. They said the DNA was on the clothes. Why didn't Jarvis stop it? I don't blame it was about competition with Shannon. I believe she knew her and Annette would be blamed, period. Remember, she only moved in October, so Jarvis had full access to baby girl. That's true, Charlotte's Web. Scientifically, they can test his DNA against Lady Ovari. That's true. That's true, Cindy. DNA of the mother revealed the details through her DNA that she was pregnant. And that fought Lady for them. If the kids were in foster care, last had no say so. Lady had no say so. Britt says Kim says she has evidence that proves it's no other possible father, that Jarvis Butts is the father. Maybe it's a baby around. True. You all don't know what it is. Kim Worthless, huh? Annette was manipulating all of them. Shannon was scared of Annette, and Lady probably was too. She put fear in her kids. I was gonna say pre-cum, but she got it. All right, I'm gonna bring RS up for food. Yeah, but that pertains to the child's DNA. How are they gonna get the child's DNA? Let me bring RS up. Salute, RS.
Salute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, talk to me.
Well, there's some things I've been following this case for a long time. Along with Shanquilla, those are my two cases. You know that, right? And there were some things that were bothering me a lot on this case. There was one thing that I've just found out that it was in plain sight. This is not about the text or the CPS case, but one
That's
thing
fine.
when they were talking about Naziah coming home on the bus. And one of the things that bugged me was that I said something always seemed wrong about that. But when you hear Annette speak, you realize that they were driven to school and back. On the day that Naziah went missing, she took the bus. But that was not her regular routine to do that.
Right.
Okay. And then another thing that's problematic, we were just talking about DNA. I believe she deliberately talked and made the whole case, delayed by waiting so long to let the police get to it. Because when they went to that hotel to see if there's any DNA, why would you wait 30 days? It's a hotel. It's like people be moving around, they move beds and everything like that. You're not gonna find any DNA there.
It's true.
Then when she was you see her in that video of her walking down the street as she gets off the bus, they said that she had on the white Nikes, white and blue Nikes. But when you see the clothes they found, those Nikes weren't white or blue. They were black or red or something. So I think somebody planted that stuff. But there's a whole bunch of things that are not right. But when you listen to the whole thing, I listened to the whole trial, okay? And it seemed like they were setting something up somewhere. You can tell that even Jarvis's sister, they couldn't say what they needed to say. Yeah. And they were told that there were some things they could not tell the public at that time.
Yeah.
They said that. So I was like, what the heck? But there was one thing that she did say. Now she said, who was it? I think it was, I don't remember who it was. I'm sorry. But somebody said they saw a little girl and she was on her phone. And that's when I said she was on her phone. That means that she had a phone with her. Where is that phone? Where is that phone? What are we going to do with that phone? Where'd they put that phone?
I could be wrong. I do believe Roxy got that phone. I could be wrong. I'm not sure.
Okay. But no matter what, I believe that they got more texts to Jarvis and they didn't show all that stuff. There's more stuff. So I'm still going through the whole thing over and over. There's still like little bits and pieces here that I'm looking at. Did they take the kids from Annette? Did the kids still with them? There's just too much going on. Too much going on. But yeah, this is good. This case is gonna blow up because I don't believe that Jarvis is gonna be only one. I think that what they're doing is they're fishing. And Jarvis is gonna have his day. Either he's gonna sing or he's not gonna sing. But he's part of something bigger. Especially with that girl they had that he grabbed 20 years ago. You know, she started remembering stuff and she submitted some stuff to the police over there. Who knows? I think he's part of a whole big stuff because Jarvis is not like everybody say. He's not that sprite. He's just not. He's just, yeah, he need help. He got all his baby mama helping him. I don't know what they're doing, but they're part of some whole clique over there. These people have too much stuff from Anthony to all these different names. Listen, once you get Jarvis, you got like 20 people behind him, literally. that are doing stuff. The guy that Frank or the automotive, all those people been doing this stuff for decades.
Mm-hmm. And getting away with it, RS.
Yes, for now, until Naziah. Naziah's the one that had to break the spell. She had to, but some people say she's alive with her baby. Some people say she's not. I don't know. I really don't know.
What do you think? What do you think about these women in Jarvis's life? Can you see the screen?
Whoa! Dang!
So the older woman, that's the woman that inappropriately, and I gotta say inappropriately, that's the woman that inappropriately touched Jarvis when he was 13.
Oh man.
And now the other women, they are women that he was in relationships with. And of course, you see Shannon up at the top. He got the 5 babies by.
Right. But this is not a complete list, Shank.
Oh, and it's more. It's more. It's more.
You know what made me mad? Remember that girl who went inside the place, the automotive place that had been abandoned? She was a baby mama too. I'm like, what? Wait, it started getting messy. When it started getting messy, I had to step back for a minute. I said, wait a minute. Is she doing that to mess up what was there, or I don't know? But I feel that everybody, including his sister, knows a little bit more than what they're saying. And you know, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying they could only go so far with what they had. When I wanted to know if because I was a little confused about something. I don't know if anybody can help me with this. They said that the case is supposed to be coming up in September or October, and they're looking for the jury together to gather the jury together. Are they gonna bring this case back by the end of the year?
Well, from what I know, and what I know is not facts. From what I know, the feds stepped in. The feds picked up this case.
Right. That makes sense.
Right. But I can't say that that's facts. So I don't want y'all to take that. Just say, well, Shank said allegedly the feds have picked up the case.
The feds pick it up. That's they onto something, because this is a smoking gun. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So something else is going on. They because you know when they say they're talking about all these people just up and disappearing, you know, like that girl, she was gonna be stuck in that house. That girl was there 20 years ago with Jarvis when he was in his 20s. She was gonna be stuck in a house, and no one was gonna know she was even there. We heard stories about people being stuck in houses and people don't know there for decades. So that's why I'm hoping that Naziah is still alive. But you know, I'm thinking they could have planted something out there. You know, I don't know. Because the delay in the way the police handle it or mishandle it, and all the other things, it's too much. And King, oh please, Shannon was up there saying what because Shannon and her mom, they had to get their story straight. But when you look into their story doesn't make no sense. Their stories are they try to be consistent, but when you look into even the stories is consistent, you have to look and see what their daily routine was. And if they were bringing those kids back and forth to school, then there was no reason for that girl to be on the bus, because Annette said that she would know that she'd be coming home, but then you at the same time you say you picked her up, you would be picking her up. Well, so am I confused? Maybe they said they drive them to school and then they take the bus home. Am I missing something? Did I misconstrue something? I don't know.
Yeah, but like you pointed out earlier, why on that particular day, if they caught the bus to school and get picked up after school, why on that particular day did Annette take her to school?
I don't know. Because when you look, remember that thing they had with the with the prayer, and she's up there calling the kid Funky Foot and all those, and she's just berating all the kids, and then they're gonna do a prayer together. I'm like, what the heck? But they're getting all them all together so they can drive them to school. I don't think they're waiting for the school bus, or am I mistaken? That's one thing I need to know. because somebody pointed out that they had a routine. And if that's their routine, then when she said that she wasn't sure if Naziah was home, why didn't she check sooner? And if Naziah said to the schoolmates that she was going to run away, that wouldn't make no sense. Because where's she going to go? She has to have some sort of adult helping her. So when she was laying on the floor and that lady didn't ask her any questions, and that was something she didn't do all the time, then it seemed like every single adult wasn't paying attention to nothing that girl was doing. And it's just like they didn't care. Including that guy who, that retired guy. It was his last day. He wasn't even bothering.
Right, yeah. You know, it's his last day, so you know he wasn't worried.
So imagine if Annette knew that. Imagine Shannon knew that. Imagine if they were waiting for the right day. And then they put their plan into motion. Right?
You're right. You're right.
Because I have a feeling Naziah in that whole household, I think Naziah was the oldest child.
Vari was the oldest, and then I believe Naziah. Her brother was the oldest.
But once he broke out, he left her the oldest. You know what I'm
True.
saying?
That's true. That's true.
And I wanted to know if there's any way that they could find out once he left, was she still getting food stamps or whatever money she was getting for him, because she was, that's bad. But the thing I know about Annette is that she does have some relative, like all these people do. Shank, you know, all these people have some relative that's in law enforcement. And they always know to teach you how to cover your tracks or do something to delay your case so that they can find less evidence.
That's true.
I don't know who the person is that's supposed to be in the police force. I don't know if it was supposed to be a son or some sort of I don't know how close the relative is. Let's put it that way.
A son of Annette's.
I don't know. This makes no sense. But anyway, just to wrap up, because I'm not gonna stay on too long. One of the biggest things that I did look at as far as Naziah's case was okay, when I first looked at about the hotel, this is another thing about the hotel not having cameras. They have cameras, but they get written over. But even if they have cameras, what people kind of forget is that most bigger cities, they'll have cameras up and down the road.
Right.
They can follow who's in those cars and where and when they went. So those cameras have a longer longer processing. They don't overwrite those all the time. And they can find out a lot more stuff. I believe that these people are holding on to a lot of evidence.
Yes. And they said they got video footage. Kim Worthless says she got this video footage now.
Yes. So I'm telling you, I cannot wait for this court date. This one and Shanquilla, I can't wait for either of these. I have a feeling we're gonna be hit with them just like on top of each other. One right after the other. This 2025 is gonna be good. We're gonna get justice for everybody. I'm telling you. Anyway, that's about it, Shank. Thank you very much for having me up here.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Take care.
All right. Let me see who we got coming up. Let me put my banner up. All right. Let me put my banner up for 1 second. Turn your camera on for me, BB. Okay, I see you, BB. All right. Salute, BB. Talk to me.
Hi. Okay, first off, I just want to say thank you. And I found you from Miss Parker. Miss Parker, shout out to her. I don't want to say too much, but I thought it was interesting that you started a live to explore the text messages today, because I was started doing that earlier. And what made me do that, I want you to pay attention when you go through that, because I just saw you put the slide up. So Janelle, when they were replaying one of her first interviews, she said that she gave Shannon the apartment in 2019 and she got evicted in 2023, like August, right? When you listen to these text messages, those sexual messages started in 2022, which means that most of them probably took place in Shannon's apartment because they did say Naziah went over there frequently. Now we have been looking at it from the point of, oh, he's been in Annette's house, which probably was true. However, it sounds like some of those probably took place because in one of the other videos they were saying a party was in Shannon's house and it was in the basement, which means Shannon had a basement too. So I just want you to pay attention and probably try to create a new timeline, especially when we think this timeline is messed up. I think it was taking place in both homes. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Well, I'm glad you came up and shared that information with me, BB. Wow.
No worries. Thank you for all you do. You guys keep going. Again, shout out Ms. Parker. Thank you, Shank. And I'll tune back in if I find something else.
All right. Appreciate you, BB.
Thank you.
All right. Make sure y'all keep that timeline. Lady V says, good point, BB. Appreciate that super chat, Miss Parker. Appreciate that super chat, Miss Parker. All right, let's get back to the text messages.
Now, moving on to May 3rd, 2023. There's a set of highlighted messages. Can you read those?
Yeah, so these messages are May 3rd, 2023, starting at 15:06. Jarvis sends a message that says, I'm coming to get you. Immediately after, Naziah replies, what you mean? Jarvis then replies to her, you heard me. Immediately after that, Naziah replies to Jarvis, you can't do that. Then sends another message immediately after, which is now still 15:07 hours, that says, I'm finna go to lunch, love you.
And were any of those messages deleted?
No.
See, maybe it's me, y'all. Maybe it's me, but the messages, the messages that's explicit, you know what messages I'm talking about. Those messages are deleted, but just the regular general conversation messages, they're not deleted. And I guess y'all might say, well, Shank, of course, Jarvis wanted those inappropriate messages deleted. All right. Don't y'all call me a funky ass. Don't y'all call me a funky ass. But me, I just, I look at it all. I'll be looking at it all because maybe it's something that I'm missing. Maybe it's something that's there, but just a food for thought.
Moving to May 30th of 2023.
May 30th, 2023 at 13:01 hours, she sends a message to Jarvis that says, I miss you. At 13:02, the letters IMU and then the number 2.
And were either of those deleted?
No.
And what about starting with May 31st of 2023?
May 31st, 2023, this is at 13:37 hours. He sends her a message that says, I can't stop thinking about you either. The next message then goes and is now June 5th, 2023 at 11:59 p.m. Well, 11:59 UTC. she sends a message to Jarvis. Hey, you may think I'm ignoring you, but I'm not. My phone broke. At 12 o'clock, another message is sent. So I will text you off this number. At 12:01, same date, she sends him a message. Are you mad at me? At 12:01, he replies back to her, yes. At 12:02, she replies back the letter Y. At 12:03, she sends, please don't be mad. At 12:04, she sends, can you tell me why you mad at me, yes or no? At 12:05, he replies to her saying, I haven't seen or talked to you.
Okay, now there's, well, first, were any of those deleted?
No.
Okay, now I want to actually go to one that I did not highlight. 12:08, June 5th, 12:08 and 28 UTC through June 5th, 12:08 and 49 UTC. Can you read those?
Those three?
Yes.
Okay, so June 5th, 2023, 12:08, 28 seconds. He sends her a message with the letters WYA. At 12:08, 35 seconds, she replies, school. 12:08, 49, he sends her a message that says, I'm at your house.
How many of y'all feel like, have you seen this podcast? Mr. Shank, I feel Naziah text those messages. That was not talking nasty, but Shannon text those nasty messages. How many of y'all feel like, have you seen this podcast? Drop an 8 if you agree, drop a 9 if you disagree. Because even in a lot of those text messages, he was, you know, he knew that it wasn't Naziah. He knew it wasn't Naziah. A lot of those text messages, Jarvis knew it wasn't Naziah.
And now, I want to go, actually, can you keep reading through June 5th at 12:09? 12:09 and 4 seconds.
I don't know what this is, but tomorrow, make sure y'all check out Cold Peace and MGTV. Check out Cold Peace and MGTV.
So the next, so just one more message down.
Yeah, just keep reading. Yeah.
Okay. 12:08, June 5th, he had sent to her, I'm at your house. At 12:09 and 4 seconds, she says, damn, we was just. Then immediately after that is another text that says, there. Then at 12:11, she sends him, you bet not be in my room. At 12:12, she sends, I need another phone. At 12:13, she sends, I miss you. At 12:14, he sends her a message that says, I stole your panties.
And now, were any of those messages deleted?
No.
Now I want to go to June 16th. There's some highlighted messages there.
June 16th, 2023 at 2:50 a.m. and 25 seconds, she sends to Jarvis, didn't I make you come faster than ever?
How many of y'all believe that that's Naziah? How many of y'all believe that Naziah sent that text message? Didn't I make you, you know what, fast?
On June 17th at 8:59 and 06 seconds, she sends to Jarvis, I'm sorry for making you mad, but do you ever think how I feel knowing that I can't have you to myself, but you have me to yourself, and no, I'm not seeing anybody else, I swear.
And were either of those deleted?
No.
Now I want you to go down on the page to June 23rd. And there's a set that are highlighted.
June 23rd, 2023 at 23:54 hours, she sends a message to Jarvis. The letter U, then you going to hit it from the back again with question marks. At the next day, which is now June 24th at 19:11 hours, he sends her a message that says, send me some pictures, please. At 19:20, she replies, don't you still got the other pics? At 19:47, he replies to that and says, no. At 20:19 hours, she sends to him, I will send some.
And now moving through to June 26th. There's a set highlighted there. Oh wait, sorry. First, those ones that you just read, were those deleted?
Yes.
Okay. Now moving to June 26th.
June 26, 2023 at 16:31 hours, she sends a message to Jarvis that says, call me when you have time. At 16:33 hours, he replies back to her, I want some pussy.
Now, I'm going to ride with David. David says she was groomed. And I can't remember who it was in the beginning of this demonstration, because my thing is, how did it go from a CPS case involving Naziah? Naziah said it in the CPS case that he inappropriately touched her. How did it go from a CPS case to these text messages? And I guess what David and the rest of y'all was saying, Jarvis groomed Naziah. So in my opinion, there's a solid case. And I've always said that when it comes to the inappropriate touching, in my opinion, they do have a strong case. They got a strong case against Jarvis when it comes to the inappropriate touching, because it went from the year 2022 when Janelle and Kiwana filed the complaint with CPS. It went from Naziah telling he touched me inappropriate to now 2023, they're in this full-blown relationship. That was Shannon. Kids today be more advanced than y'all think they are. That's true, simply. That's true. I believe it was her because I believe she was trying to make Gina mad at Jarvis because it was making her, baby, basically. That's her. He probably lived there majority of the time. That's the real tea. If both Shannon and Zaza sharing the phone, then some fishy ass text still sounds like competition in the text.
At 16:33 hours and 50 seconds, she replies back to him, you can have some. At 16:39 hours and 41 seconds, he replies to Naziah, when? At 16:49 hours and 28 seconds, she sends to Jarvis, whenever you come get me. At 21:16 hours, she sends to Jarvis, call me, want to tell you something, SUM. At 21:24 hours, she sends a message to Jarvis that says, you can get some today. At 21:24, hours, she sends another message that says, you can get some pussy today.
Mm.
Were any from that set deleted?
Yes, all of them.
All of them. Okay. Now moving to June 27th. There's a set that's highlighted. Can you read those, please?
Yes. June 27th at 7:55 UTC. There is a incoming call to Neziah from Jarvis that is listed as a missed call. And the name on here that she has this number saved is Bae for Life, BAE, the number 4, and then life. Then at 7:56, he sends her a text that says, are you naked yet? At 7:58, she replies to him and says, no, I don't want to get naked. At 7:59, she replies, are you mad that I didn't get naked? At 8:01 hours, he sends to her, I used to you telling me no. At 8:06, still on June 27th, he sends her a message that says, she sends him a message that says, come on, babe, I'm sorry, just not in the mood right now, I'm sorry.
Okay. And were those messages deleted?
Yes.
Okay. Now, jumping to it's a little later in the day on June 27th, there's a set highlighted.
So on June 27th, now at 16:24 hours, he sends her a message that says, but I can't nut inside you, so it's different. At 16:25, she replies, why you can't? Didn't you do it before? At 16:25 and 40 seconds, he replies, but I had to buy a pill to do so. At 16.
This is sick, man. This is sick.
16:26, she replies to him, yeah, you right. At 16:26, 28 seconds, she sends, but what you doing, but it's abbreviated WYD. At 16:28 and 45 seconds, she sends to him, are you busy?
If you would like to send a super chat, a super sticker, or get a membership, click on the $ symbol that's in the chat. If you would like to get a super chat or a super sticker, click on that $ symbol.
With a question mark. And those were deleted.
Thank you. Now, jumping forward to June 28th.
On June 28th, so this next set in here, they're all sent from Neziah to Jarvis.
Yes.
And they start at 17:10 on June 28th, 2023. And it starts off as, Bae, I didn't go see nobody. I swear I came straight back. At 17:11, my friend lived right down the street. She didn't answer, so I came back and went to sleep. The next message, Bae, please, I'm sorry. Immediately after that, she says, I didn't sneak out for nobody, I swear. 17:12, 58 seconds, she says, I know you having a rough day, but I swear I'm not lying. At 17:14, she says, Bae, please, I swear I didn't go see no niggas. 17:14, she says, I don't talk to nobody but you. 17:15, she says, I was only out for 5 or 10 minutes. I came straight back. 17:15 and 56 seconds. You didn't respond to none of my messages, so I thought you were asleep, so I went to sleep. 17:17, Why won't you believe anything I tell you? I'm not like other girls. There is no need for me to lie to you.
Do y'all believe that's Naziah? Appreciate the super sticker, Miss TT. Do y'all believe that that's Naziah? Drop an 8 if y'all believe that that's Naziah. Drop a 9 if you disagree. Appreciate the super sticker, Self-Made Princess. Sick. Shannon was reading them and beat her. Salute, Shank. Salute. Salute, Lisa. Leave me alone, Lisa. Don't start that funky ass, Lisa. Don't start that funky ass, Lisa. This is difficult every time I hear this. Facts. 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 Because it's a 40-year-old man talking to a baby. 12 years old, she's still a baby. Because she sounds like she is in a relationship with him. Yeah. Yeah. A 40-year-old talking to a baby like this. What I was saying was nobody else ever showed baby girl any love. And to her, he is the only one who showed her love because she wasn't mature enough to understand that he only wanted her body. That's facts. That's facts. Shannon told Jarvis she was out with another man, and that got Jarvis mad. Yep. Sounds like what a kid would say. Both. So when Shannon reading them, she wrote a whack text instead of beating his you know what. She as in Naziah. That's Naziah. It's her. Also, who told Jarvis Naziah snuck out the house? Remember, Naziah was trying to convince him she didn't leave with anybody. That's facts, Popcorn. That's facts. Respectfully, have you seen his podcast? He did not love her. He abused and took advantage of her. Yep. She knew because she even asked just to cuddle. Yep. Y'all stop. Abuse is not love. He's 12 in the mind. That's true, Wilson. That's true, Wilson. Zen dropped the 8. That's true. Had to take another Zofran. My daughter 12, so this hit different. Exactly. How did he know she was out with another boy or was talking to somebody else? I truly believe he was messing with her long before she was 12. I think so too, Queena. I think so too. So if somebody SA your child, are you going to say it was love? Disgusting. I bought a super chat. Does it take a minute to get through? No, it should have came through, dog. The super chat should have came through already. How about when she snuck out? Teacher caught her. That's a grown man. What is going on here? Ellis, that's what I was saying, was that she thought he loved her, but he didn't love her. Right, he didn't love her. Appreciate that super sticker, Trans Life.
$17.18. You said I'm all yours, but you acting like it. You are overthinking it. I just want to be yours. $17.19. Please stop ignoring my calls. You don't want me to see nobody, and I'm not. $17.20. Bae, I'm sorry I didn't tell you. $17.21. I promise you there is no one else. $17.24. If you don't believe me, I will send you my Instagram password.
Now, these next messages from 17:20.
What do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about that? She mentioned to Jarvis, if he don't believe her, she will send him her Instagram password. Could Jarvis, we speak about Shannon having Naziah's passwords to the phone, the tablet. Could Jarvis had Nazia's passwords. What are y'all thoughts on that? What are y'all thoughts on that? Nisi says they both had passwords. BB says, yeah, I think some of them did. I feel he probably started when she was about 5 years old. That's the most time, the age where it's the stories that I do. I'm surprised how they didn't start raising eyebrows when Nazia was on social media with liquor bottles and freak dancing on the bed. This is learned behavior.
To 1725. Don't read what the username and passwords are. Just that they were sent.
So the next message is she's sending her Instagram username and a password along with her Gmail email and giving the password to that as well.
Okay. And now starting again with 1726.
So on June 28th, still 1726, the next message is still all being sent to Jarvis from Nazia are, I hope you believe me now. You really don't want to believe me, but I will tell you the truth every time. Immediately after that, I just want to make your day better, babe. I'm sorry. Feel free to log in at any time or go through my messages. Now,
so he did have access. He did have her Instagram password because she said, feel free to log in anytime and check my messages. So we do know that he had at least her Instagram password.
1742, she says, I only want to be with you. At 1809, babe, I'm sorry for not telling. I swear I will next time, please. Still 1809, babe, I love you. Please call me back. Now at 1818, come on, babe, please. At 1819, so what if I will be able to get out tonight and I'm calling you and texting you, are you still going to ignore me? At 1821, she says, you are so busy, I feel like you don't want me. This is why I don't open up to you, because if I do, you get mad and don't want to talk. So how am I going to trust you? I do, but you don't trust me. It's up to if you want to be with me or not. At 1845, she says, I didn't do anything wrong. I don't get why you so upset. At 1846, all I tried to do is make you happy, but clearly I'm not enough for you. Cut me off. I don't anymore. You FRL, for real. Never even fucked with me. All I want is you to love me.
Y'all see what these little kids is up against? Do y'all see what these little kids are up against? This could be any one of our daughters. This could be any one of our granddaughter. I got an 11-year-old granddaughter. I got a 16-year-old granddaughter. I got a 14-year-old granddaughter. I'm sure many of y'all have daughters her age. I'm sure many of y'all have granddaughters. This shit is sick. This shit is sick. And I know a lot of things. I got the answer to a lot of things. But I don't got the answers to how to stop this shit. I don't. Because Nazia Harris isn't the only 12-year-old, 13-year-old little girl that's experiencing this sick shit. And it's all over the world. Little girls of all nationalities, little girls of all races. This shit is sick, man. Sick.
At 1847. I tried so hard, but you don't understand that. I'm sorry if you feel like I'm cheating, but I'm not. I gave passwords and all that in all. What more do I have to prove I'm not cheating? Now this message is when Jarvis actually finally replies, which is at 1855. He sends to her, I'm working low.
And were those messages deleted?
Yes.
Now, moving on to June 29th.
And let me just say this, and I want everybody to listen up. For those that think that me, along with the other content creators that cover Nazaria Harris case and these other cases, for y'all to think that we do it for clicks and views, maybe some do. Let me just clear the air. Maybe some content creators, maybe they do cover the Nazaria Harris case for clicks and views and money and all of that. But I got to tell y'all, the majority of us, we do it from our heart. Because this shit right here, man, this shit is depressing, man. It really is. I'm a grown man. And I got to fight back the tears. Now, even if you don't like the content creator, and I know sometimes, because sometimes I can get on one. You know, sometimes I could get on one. But understand that the Nazaria Harris case, man, this shit is draining. The subscribers, some of the subscribers have to log off. Some of the subscribers that hit me on Instagram and Facebook or email and say, Shank, I just want you to know that I just have to take a break. This shit is draining, man. This shit right here, I'll say it again. Jarvis should have never been allowed access to none of them babies. And for every man that's in Nazaria Harris family, I really need y'all to listen up. And this is why I'm so hard on you. This is why I had to come for the men, because y'all allowed Jarvis to move in and out how he wanted to amongst these kids. Now, when it comes to Shannon, y'all may not have been able to stop Shannon from dealing with Jarvis. But as a man, as an uncle, a brother, a cousin, even Florentino, I got to call you out, Florentino. I got to call y'all out. The evangelists, I got to call all of y'all out. We wouldn't be here if the men, Art Gamble, you older than me. You know, I got to call y'all out. See, we can hold Shannon, Miss Annette, we can hold all of them accountable. But the men in this family, me being a man, I gotta hold y'all accountable. I gotta call y'all out. Because y'all was supposed to shut Jarvis down. Hey, look, man, I don't want to see you around my family. The weakest man on a totem pole The weakest man, the man that can't fight, the man that grew up getting his ass whipped. A pedophile around his family, that weak man would have stood up to Jarvis and told Jarvis, I don't want to see you back around here. I don't want to see you back around here. So what's really good? And I dropped the link. Feel free to pull up, you know, and I won't get in no shouting match with you. But the men, pull up. There's the link. I'll give y'all the same respect that I gave Kenya. Shout out to Kenya. I'll give y'all the same respect that I gave Marquita. Shout out to Marquita. I'll give y'all the same respect that I gave Kiwana. Shout out to Kiwana. As a man, I'll give y'all that respect. But as a man, why did y'all allow Jarvis to run through y'all family like that? Somebody gotta help me understand that. I mean, okay, Shank, my dad pulled a baseball bat on my baby daddy for putting his hands on me and said, don't come around here no more. I mean, come on. Wait a minute. Jarvis is a sick, nasty-ass coward, period. Jarvis should have never had access to them babies. Never. Like I said, Shannon gonna do what Shannon gonna do. But them babies? And like I said, for the Cowardly Lion, my man, you 3 sizes bigger than me. You know? Now you quick to quote scriptures. You quick to talk about the Lord. But I have to ask you, Cowardly Lion, because even you said that Shannon brought Jarvis to try to intimidate you. I got to hold you accountable for that. I got to call you out on that, Cowardly Lion. Big as you is. Man, you were supposed to have been slinging Jarvis. Come on, man. Come on. And you know I got to come for you, gatekeeper. You is the great uncle of Naziah. You is Miss Annette's brother. Man to man. Man to man. Where was you at? Where was you at in all of this? You failed, Naziah. We know where you was at some of the time. Your funky ass. There it is right there, man. Appreciate the super chat, Lady V. I appreciate all the content creators covering our children cases. We have to let the world know we care about our children, even when the system doesn't. Thank you. Appreciate that, Lady V. That's a no-no. Man to man. I mean, that's a no-no. I'm just keeping it 100 with you. That's a no-no. You should have shut Jarvis' funky ass down. Your funky ass should not be in backup Naziah Harris dancing like that. Man to man. It's unacceptable. It is. Can't let that slide. And I let a lot of things slide. I don't let, when men and women, when men do stuff to these babies, I don't let it slide. I don't.
June 29, 2023 at 21:44 hours. She sends to Jarvis, when you off work. At 21:49, she sends, pick me up before you pick up Janiyah. At 22:02, she sends, hope to see you soon. At 22:47, she sends, I'm never getting out of this hellhole. At 22:40.
Sad, man. That's sad, man. That little baby text, I'm never getting out of this hellhole. That shit's sad, man. Seriously, man. That shit's sad. And this is what I'm saying. And y'all think us content see, this is the stuff that we have to see. And I know, and let me say this. Let me say this. Because I ain't here to, start no trouble. But just like Naziah's immediate family and her distant family is hurting, well, this community that came together for Naziah, we hurting too. It shit hurting us. Maybe the family and the extended family, maybe y'all hurt. Maybe y'all pain is deeper than ours. I'll give y'all that. Maybe the family and extended family's pain is deeper than ours. But we still hurt. We still hurt about this little girl. We all are hurt. This shit gotta stop. This shit gotta stop. Because if it don't stop, as I said before, Naziah Harris won't be the last. This shit gotta stop. It's wrong. It's wrong. Children are off limits. Women are off limits unless, they down for it. And if they down for it, I can't advocate for it. If it's a woman and she down for all of this, Shank Rock can't advocate for it. But a woman that's not down for this, a woman that gets taken advantage of, and it's a lot of women out here that's down for it. All these hoes out here, all these funky ass hoes, you got funky ass hoes that's down for it. You got rich hoes, you got broke hoes, you got intelligent hoes, you got dumb hoes. You got all these damn hoes out here. Here go a whole list of them. So what's really good? Here go a whole list of them. A whole list of funky ass hoes. And I gotta call y'all funky ass hoes because y'all funky ass hoes, y'all knew Jarvis's get down. Knowing a pedo's get down, you are a funky ass hoe. But leave these babies alone. Leave these babies alone. Because y'all gonna end up in the penitentiary. That's where y'all gonna end up, in the penitentiary. And if you ain't never been in the penitentiary, you don't want to go to the penitentiary with that crime. You don't even want to go to the county jail with that charge. But if Jarvis going to the penitentiary. Jarvis ain't gonna stay in the county jail. But even in the county jail, you can't survive with that kind of charge.
He replies with the letter Y. 22:48, she sends, she will never let me out. It's so boring over here. 22:50, she sends,
I gotta backtrack this, y'all. This baby is saying, this baby is telling the monster See, that's deep. That's deep. The baby, the little girl, is telling a monster she got to get out of this hellhole. Let me backtrack. But she's telling this to the monster.
Yes.
Now, moving on to June 29th.
June 29th, 2023 at 21:44 hours. She sends to Jarvis, when you off work. At 21:49, she sends, pick me up before you pick up Janiyah. At 22:02, she sends, hope to see you soon. At 22:47, she sends, I'm never getting out of this hellhole. At 22:48, he replies with the letter Y. 22:48, she sends, she will never let me out. It's so boring over here. 22:50, she sends, well, I will, she has the word she on here, UTM. And then the very next text after that, it says, I will see you tomorrow. Then at 22:50, he replies to her, or tonight.
And were those messages deleted?
Yes.
Now, continuing on June 29th.
June 29th, 22:52 hours. Uzziah sends, are you still picking up Janiyah? 22:53, he replies, when? 22:53, she sends to him, today. At 22:53, he replies back, no. 22:53, 18 seconds, she sends the letter Y. 22:53, he sends back to her, it's just me and you. At 22:53, he sends another message that says, because I was never picking her up. At 22:53, she replies, okay, I really like that it's only me and you. 22:54, he sends.
This little girl was searching for love, y'all. Y'all remember Tupac's song, Brenda's Got a Baby, and so many other songs.
Sends back, you really didn't want her there, no way. 22:54, she replies, I know I didn't want her there. 22:55, he replies to her with the letter Y.
You know it's bad. You know it's bad when this monster hurt his own flesh and bone. So we know that Neziah didn't stand a chance. Neziah didn't stand a chance, man. Them babies need counseling. Them babies need therapy. Them babies need help, man. Them babies need therapy. Them babies need counseling. You right, Popcorn. Look how this child looks uncomfortable. This her father. This is her father.
$22.55 she sends back, because she do too much and you mine. $22.57, Jarvis replies to Neziah saying, meaning. $22.58, he then sends, and Shan said that she said no. Then the next message from him is for today. At 23:06, Neziah sends Jarvis, I know she said no for today. And then at 23:07, Neziah sends, the meaning is you're mine and mine only, the dick, and all your mine and will stay mine.
How many of y'all think that was Neziah sending that text message about you're mine and mine only, the D, you're mine? How many of y'all believe? Drop a Y if you think that that's Neziah. Drop an N if you don't think that that's Neziah. I think that that's Neziah. I think that that's Neziah. And I'll say it again. Shout out to all of the content creators that's covering the Neziah Harris case.
At 23:14, she sends, I want to know the meaning when you say I'm yours. The date on here is now June 30th at 00:16 hours. Jarvis replies to her and says, all of you. Immediately after that, your mind, body, and soul.
What type of shit is that to tell a 12-year-old girl? What type of shit is that coming from a 40-year-old man to a 12-year-old girl that you're all mine? Mind, body, and soul. That's some pimping shit. That's pimping 101. That's what a pimp tell his hoes. You're all mine. Everything.
At 00:17 hours, he sends to Neziah, the pussy, ass, mouth, legs, arms, face, and then he has the word everything in all caps. At 01:19 hours, she replies, oh, really? And then there's some type of emoji. Immediately after that, she says, want to see that tomorrow? And it's the same little symbols on there. At 02:47 hours, he sends back to her, meaning. It's now 06:03 hours. She sends to him, when we fuck. Then at 06:24 hours, he sends a message to her, what you doing, but it's just the letters WYD.
And were those messages all deleted?
Yes.
Okay. Now moving later in the day to June 30th.
June 30th at 22:18 hours, Jarvis sends to Neziah, I'm outside. Then the next message is at 23:36 hours. He sends to Neziah, go take them panties off. At 23:37 hours, Neziah sends, are we going to the room? 2337, Jarvis replies, IDK, meaning I don't know. 2338, she sends to him the letters PLS, or please. 2338, he replies to her the letter Y. 2339, she replies back and says, because we got more space. 2339, he then sends a message to her that says, to do. She then immediately replies to fuck, WYM, or what you need. Then immediately after that, she sends to him, we going or what?
And moving forward to July 1st. Oh, first of all, were any of those messages just read deleted?
All of these were deleted.
Okay. Now to July 1st.
July 1st, 2023 at 14:31, she sends a message to Jarvis that says GM or good morning. At 15:22, he replies GM Twitter. At 15:24, she sends back whatever, I was tired. And at 15:28, she sends still my dick though. At 15:28, he sends to her, there's 3 letter B's, so it's BBB dot BE and then a space N and then the uppercase Q and the lowercase q, as we know. He then sends another message at 15:28 with the words no. At 15:29, she sends, okay, fine. Yo, pussy, my dick. He then replies to her at 15:38, who said? She sends back to him, me, it's your pussy.
And were those deleted?
Yes.
And I want to stay on that same page for a second. Sorry. The messages on July 1st, starting from 1907 to 2135.
July 1st, 1907, he sends a message to her that says, I'm trying to fuck. At 1952, she replies back, okay. At 1952, she sends a message that says WSP, meaning what's up. Then at 21:34, she sends, you still coming or you was playing about trying to fuck? At 21:35, he replies back to Naziah, I'm serious.
And were those deleted?
Yes.
And now moving on to July 2nd.
I'm not going to be able to. I'll probably hold y'all for maybe another 5 or 10 minutes, man. This shit right here it fucks with me. It's right here, man.
July 2nd, 2023 at 15:46 hours, Jarvis sends a message to Naziah that says, can I get my dick sucked today? At 15:47, she replies, sure, no problem. At 15:50, Jarvis replies, yeah, okay. At 15:53,
let me intervene, y'all. Let me intervene. Because I've had ladies join me on the panel and tell their stories, how their own mothers didn't believe them. I had Krishan Rock's oldest sister, China, over here. Shout out to China. And she mentioned that she received 2 black eyes when her mother found out that she reported the mother's boyfriend or husband. Ladies, y'all got to take care of these daughters. Fellas, we got to take care of our sons. Fellas, we got to take care of our daughters. Ladies, we got to take care of our sons. But in these cases, 9 out of 10 of these cases, a mother or grandmother or aunts failed the little girls. It's a no-no. It's negative. It's negative. If you know of a little girl that's in this situation, please, please believe the little girl. Please have enough love. Please have enough decency. Please have enough fear of God to get your niece, your daughter, or your granddaughter away from this kind of monster. This shit could have been prevented, Shannon. It could have been prevented, and that. Just as well as I came for Florentino and the Cowardly Lion, I got to come for y'all. And that, and Shannon, this shit should have been prevented. I don't know how much longer I could do this. I just don't. I don't. That little girl, she suffered. She had to go to a monster. She had to go to a monster for the basic necessities of pads. Pads. She should have felt comfortable with going to y'all. Why did she have to go to the monster for pads? Why is she telling this monster that she ain't going to never get out of this hellhole? Her brother ran away. Let me grab some comments from the chat, y'all. I'm not going to hold y'all that much longer because I can't do this shit, man. Marianne says, this man is so sick. I can't imagine. Nisa, yes. It definitely could have been prevented. She knew his history. She said, I don't know what to believe anymore, in the text to him as if it wasn't her first time confronting him about Neziah. She knew. That's facts. It's sad to say, but some things never change. Shaking my you know what head. You try not to be biased, but the trial is leading to them, bro. That's facts, Popcorn. Yeah, the judge tuned them up really well at the end, saying the same thing. The pads, some me cozy, I was going through that. Man, this shit just sad. It's sad. For Shannon to love this man that much, how was she okay with him doing this to her niece? That's facts. No, she didn't, because he was having sex with her. She assumed it was his responsibility. We feel like this. I can only imagine how she felt. That's facts. But Marquita said she loved her. That's a joke, shaking my you know what head. Because then you gotta even question Marquita. Now, did Marquita know? So they wasn't paying attention to her at all. They couldn't have. She knew. She truly loved this man. I mean, her mom, grandma, aunts, uncle, school, CPS, and police let Neziah down. That's facts. Don't believe everything you tell yourself. He more than likely did it, believe her, and stopped it. Neziah didn't know no better. So she couldn't go nowhere but with him only. Just heartbreaking. I don't even believe Jarvis was the only pedo around them. These kids was probably groomed since they were babies. Go to the church, Pink Goddess. Go to that church. That church is full with pedos. I'm in support of Step. Yes. Marquita knew too. Hell yeah, they all knew. And this is why everybody have a problem with y'all. They all knew. The sad part is that I don't think he even tried to hide it. Me too, sick. So keep listening. What the F? Just by Marquita still chilling with Shannon, tell me what I need to know. Really. Jarvis is responsible. No one else. Jarvis and only. Thanks. As crazy as Shannon was over Jarvis, trust, she knew. How you figure, say. When the school caught him there, I'm sure they had to report it. Facts. Shank, you funny as hell. Shannon thought it was okay because it happened to her and nobody else did anything, so eventually it became normal. You got to laugh. Well, let me say for me, I do have to laugh. I have to have that time when I can laugh to keep me from crying, real tears, and to keep from me going off. So I gotta laugh. I gotta have a sense of humor. I gotta joke a little bit because this shit right here will drive you crazy. How is it that this little girl went through this? Shannon thought it was okay because it happened to her and nobody else did anything, so eventually it became normal. She knew he was doing it to their own child. Why would she protect the niece? That's facts. That's facts. Kiwana said the twins jumped her on your live yesterday, bro. I was sick after that. That's facts, Popcorn. That's facts. She will soon rest in peace. I hate how in those interrogation videos, he tried to make her seem crazy and like she was just coming on to him when in reality, he groomed the mess out of her. That's facts. There were more than Jarvis. I'm a tap out, everybody, but I will leave the chat running and y'all can hang around. Miss Parker won't be going live tonight. Miss Parker says she needs a break. So I'll leave the chat running for about 10 minutes and you all can hang around. Salute everybody and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Salute. Y'all can hang around in the chat. I'll leave it running.
Neziah replies, I'm serious, you can. At 16:33, Neziah sends, there's going to be some type of photo that would have been sent at this time. At 17:08, there's a reply from Jarvis where it says, liked an image. Then at 17:08, Jarvis says, I'm going to sneak in, okay? At 17:08, Neziah replies back, why? 17:08, he says, who is up? At 17:09, she replies, everybody. At 17:09, Jarvis sends some type of photo to Naziah. Immediately after that, she replies, well, damn, I want to lay with you. Then at 17:10, from Naziah, are you here already? At 17:12, Shan told the kids that you said you was on your way, so they know you coming. At 17:13, Naziah sends, I want to see you. 17:21, Naziah sends, so am I just giving you head or we fucking too? Because looking at that picture made me horny. At 17:22, Jarvis replies to her, you tell me. 17:22 and 29 seconds, she says, I want to fuck too. Immediately after that, she says, so can we? And then at 17:22, 49 seconds, Jarvis replies back to her, yep,
And were those messages deleted?
yes.
Okay. And now, later in the day, on June 2nd, or I'm sorry, July 2nd, there's a set of messages there.
Yes. July 2nd, 2023, starting at 18:41 hours, she sends to Jarvis, I want to fuck. At 18:41, do you? 19:04, are you busy, yes or no? 20:06, she sends, text me when you not on BS about fucking because you playing. At 20:15, she sends, all I'm trying to say, I just want your body on mine. At 20:44, she says, babe, where you at? 21:52, she says, I'm trying to fuck. 23:58, she sends, she fitting to walk to the store. So now the date's changed to July 3rd and the hours are 00:42. She sends, before we go. At 00:42, 31 seconds, she sends, go upstairs in the bathroom. At 00:42, 48 seconds, Jarvis replies to her, why? At 00:42, 54 seconds, Naziah replies back, just go. At 01:11 hours, Naziah sends, we doing something or what? At 01:12, he replies to her, yep. At 01:23, she replies, I want to lay with you. At 01:30, he replies, I'm going upstairs. At 01:31, she sends, okay, Shan going up there too. At 01:31, she says, I just want to chill with you. At 01:32, he sends back to her, is she? 01:32, and Naziah replies, yes, you know she wants some dick. So she going to follow you upstairs. Then at 01:43 hours, she sends him another picture. 01:43, he replies, not getting any. And then immediately after that, the message says from him to her, this is your dick. At 01:44, Naziah sends, I know it's mine. Give her some dick so ass can shut up. At 01:44, give her some so she can shut up and leave you alone. She only acting like that because she's horny. At 01:48, Jarvis replies, I want to see you. Immediately after that, his next message is, while you in the shower. Then at 01:55, she sends him a photo. It is now 02:04 hours. He sends her a message that says, I don't want to give her no dick. At 2:10 hours, these next set of messages are all from Isaiah. It says, come back downstairs. Damn, you scared. At 02:44 hours, she says, hurry up. I want you back. At 02:50 hours, she says, come downstairs so I can sit on it real quick. At 02:52 hours, she says, I promise it's not going to be long, just a few, but it's FRW, up and downs, please. Then immediately, right after that is 02:53, she sends the same message, but it's spelled correctly. It says, I promise it's not going to be long, just a few up and downs.
And were all of those messages deleted?
Yes.
In Wayne County, where Jarvis Butts, the man charged with sexually assaulting and killing 13-year-old Naziah Harris, was back in court today. Our Jordan Burroughs was inside the courtroom and joins us now with a recap of today's proceedings.
Today at the Wayne County Criminal Justice Center, Judge Nicholas Hathaway laid out dates in the Jarvis Butts case. Butts is accused of murdering 13-year-old Naziah Harris last year. His jury selection is scheduled to start October 6th. Jarvis Butts was in court Friday to hear Judge Nicholas Hathaway decide key dates in his trial. The defense and prosecution both agreed on the dates as they await the full transcript to be typed out so they can read it over. Butts was previously in court January 17th for a hearing where he entered a not guilty plea. At that hearing, just like Friday's, Naziah Harris's family and friends were present. Butts, 42 years old, of Detroit, is charged with first-degree premeditated murder, second-degree criminal sexual conduct, and child sexually abusive activity. Butts is also accused of having an inappropriate relationship with Naziah. She was last seen getting off her school bus at the corner of Cornwall and 3 Mile Drive in Detroit on January 9th of last year. Her body has not been found. As jury selection starts October 6th, the prosecution said it could call 40 or more witnesses to the stand, and the defense said it could call 10 or more. It's a trial that could take 3 to 4 weeks.
I'm hopeful that you're going to have that transcript here, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. Obviously, with that trial date being in October, we have some time to work with. But I'd like to see you all again for final conference.
Today's calendar conference also laid out another key date, which includes the last conference. That will be on Friday, June 20th. Reporting from the Wayne County Criminal Justice Center, Jordan Burroughs, CBS News, Detroit.